In this episode, it's round 2 of the Rush Duel Tournament Finals as we get the duel between Neil and Gakuting. Hey there, my name is Rex. It's taken me too long to get this intro right, but it's time for episode 50 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Can you believe it's been that long? But anyway, as things stand, both teams are at 770 points, and supposedly this is going to be the tiebreaker duel. But, you know, at least that's what they say at the very beginning. Of course, you know, while the duel is going on, everyone else is still doing their research. Schrodinger and Arai and Sebastian as well. They're joined by Geta and Ushiro, so that's kind of cool that, you know, they're all kind of working together, coming together. And of course, they're doing their thing. They don't make any big breakthroughs during the episode. We get most of the duel, I guess, during the episode. And Gakuting obviously is pretty nervous because he knows that Neil has Yggdrago, that big ol' maximum monster, so he's wondering how he's going to be able to counter that. And so when the duel starts, Gakuting makes some interesting fashion choices, some interesting style choices, as he goes with the Neo Sogetsu style duel, which is very, very cringy. And of course, at least everyone calls him out for his outfit, for his way of talking, his way of dueling, I guess. Not very distinguished, as you would think. Like I said, everyone calls him out, especially Roman. Roman is unbelievably bothered by it, and understandably so. Because I guess normally she'd be her and Gakuting. I love both of them together when they're both doing things together, like hanging out or both exploring. Like, you know, we've seen them together in certain parts, I think, this season. They're both the two level-headed ones. And so seeing Gakuting losing his marbles like this, it's kind of funny. But it's obviously not working out for him during this duel, as Neil summons out his monster, his maximum monster, first turn, Yggdrago, and so it seems like he's on the ropes. And, you know, during this, you know, Gakuting is kind of struggling with exactly, you know, how he should be presenting himself, or how he should go about with this Sogetsu style, or at least, you know, whether he should adapt it, which he seems to think that's what he needs to do. And, you know, of course, it is a pretty big, interesting duel, especially because Neil is being followed around by Ranze, who, you know, was formerly with Gakuting. And so he doesn't necessarily go into this duel. Gakuto's already kind of let go of Ranze, but at the same time, there still are kind of those, not necessarily stakes, but there's that connection as well, you know, that she's there basically on the other side while he's kind of flopping around, making a fool of himself, not necessarily doing what he should be doing, at least with carrying himself with the Sogetsu style duel. At least Rinosuke shows up and lets him know, hey, you got to get a hold of yourself. Basically telling him, you know, you've disgraced the Sogetsu style duel. You should quit after this duel. This is your final duel. You should just quit. And not just that, you know, especially because he'd be losing, you know, that big old maximum monster. And so now he kind of has this moment of clarity, where he basically has a vision of his one of his ancestors, and realizing, you know, that's what the Sogetsu style duel is really all about. You know, following your path. Following a single path to victory, and taking your time to figure that out and carry yourself well. So, you know, that is kind of nice. Again, you know, I find it just a little odd that, you know, that would be something that he would be dealing with now. Not something, I mean, I guess you could say that it was kind of set up when Ranze had left him earlier in the season. I suppose, but, you know, we really hadn't seen him feeling a whole lot since then. So, you know, I think it could have been a little more impactful in that sense, but regardless, he's able to turn things around, and he summons out a brand new monster. It's got a dumb name, but it's a big bird, and I don't have my notes or anything, but it is kind of interesting. You know, it's similar to one of the other new monsters that he had back with his duel against Ranze. And so it is kind of interesting seeing, you know, his deck is basically comprised of these warrior monsters, you know, like Yama Ruler, Sama Ruler, all those monsters. But now it's also got these big support winged beast monsters, like, you know, the one we saw before, and this one looks pretty cool. He's able to pump this up to over 4,100 attack, which is 100 more attack points than Yggdrago. And so it seems like he's going to be able to defeat it and destroy it, but Neil's got a trap that prevents them from being destroyed. I think, I'm pretty sure he actually used that trap before, in a sense. Or I believe against Yuga's maximum monster. But regardless, Neil's able to hang on, and Gakuting, during Neil's turn, basically just bolsters his defenses, builds them up. And, you know, it is also kind of playing into his deck, you know. That before was based on a lot of like switching battle positions based on defense, and it kind of makes sense, again, being more of the kind of the strategist type monsters and decks, and especially now with his newfound reinvigorament, I guess, reinvigoratingment. He's back, basically. He's back and better. So him being able to hold on with his defenses and this, and it seems like he's able to basically live for this turn. Except Neil is just kind of breaking down everything, as with all his support spells, traps, and other effects. We see Tribute to the Doom come back, which cool retro card there. But it's seeming like Yggdrago is going to be able to attack directly for game, but he's got this one trap that would, if he has the his 3 warrior monsters, the big boss monsters, in the graveyard, returns them to deck, then during a direct attack, both players would take the damage. It was something to that degree, but of course he's able to pull it off, and they both take 4,000 damage, and so that basically seals it. It ends in a draw, ends in a tie, and so they remain at 770 points to 770 points. So kind of setting things up. Now, yes, they're officially tied. We've got the first 2 duels out of the way, and then now it leaves it open for the final duel to be the final tiebreaker duel to be between Yuga and Luke. On one hand, like I said, I think that some of the setup for Gakuto, I don't think it was necessarily done as well. Again, it is following up a little more so what happened with Ronze before, but he didn't exactly seem too bothered with it. It had kind of seemed like he would let that go, and we hadn't really seen him want to try and change or update the Sugetsu style duel. For him to do this during the finals, it does come out of nowhere. At first I thought he was like faking it and doing this on purpose to try and get Ronze to come back over to him, but it seemed like he genuinely thought that that's what he should be doing at that time. So I don't know, but at least he's kind of come back. He at least came back to his senses in that. So there's that. In terms of like how the duel went. Well, I guess in terms of skill level, they're both pretty up there. Again, though, on one hand, Yuga straight up lost his first duel to Neil, but then again, during that time, Yuga was being a little cocky, and Gakuto didn't win. He just didn't lose. So I think getting it into tie is pretty, fair enough. And again, it just one big trap card that he was able to get the effect off of, which, seems relatively fair. And, something like that where it's like, oh, we both take the damage from this attack. That seems fair, typically. And so if your opponent's going to be summoning a big monster like Yggdrago that's got 4,000 attack, well, I guess that's on them for just bringing out a big monster. So I think it was a fine duel overall. Good episode. Although, again, compared to last episode, not as, not amazing. And compared to however amazing, hopefully, next episode is going to be, again, just with how big the stakes are and everything, especially, being a duel between Yuga and Luke, which is, something, and in the finals, too. I assume that's just going to be much better. But, fine episode. I still enjoyed it and liked it. And, of course, at the end of this, Ronze, of course, leaves Neil, and he's obviously not too, shaken up by it. He's like, yes, please, leave. And so she rejoins Gakuto. And so, now they're reunited, the 3 of them. So I think that's nice there. So at least that's kind of resolved there. I don't think, like, story-wise, it was amazing. And, like, the whole arc, I guess, with Ronze and Gakuto, but at least, it's resolved, and just seeing them all together is pretty nice there. But I guess that's the episode, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? What are your predictions for next episode? I thought maybe in the back of my head this would end up being a tie, but, I didn't exactly, like, they didn't necessarily set up before that, this would end up being a tiebreaker, basically, because they're both tied at 770, and whoever wins gets the final 7 points, becomes a winner. They didn't set that up before. They announced it at the beginning of this episode. But once they did that, it kind of basically told you, oh yeah, this episode is going to be a tie. Hope, maybe. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. We'll continue the discussion down there. If you would like to stick around, you can subscribe and leave a like to show your support. But anyway, this has been Rex. Have a nice day.